असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Friends, three things are necessary, as Swami Vivekananda said, to make every man great, every nation great. These are conviction of the powers of goodness, absence of jealousy and suspicion, and last but not the least, helping all who are trying to be and do good. In other words, it's character building and man-making education that Swamiji wanted. With this end in view, Vidyarthi Vrata home is arranged for the students when they are admitted to the Vidyapith, that is at both class 6 and class 11 levels, which are their entry points. In this home or havan, students undertake important vows given in the form of mantras. These mantras were composed by scholarly monks more than 100 years from now. There are 5 mantras encapsulating 5 vows. These vows are meant to guide the students in channelizing their energies to achieve a healthy growth. These 5 vows can help the students to mold their energies and potential and become an effective and fruitful citizen. These 5 vows, the kind of commitments they make to themselves, with Agni or fire as the witness. Ramakrishna mission is through its 125 years of its sojourn. The mission was established by none other than Swami Vivekananda himself. And Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar, is a constituent and affiliate of the same Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Math, which was established by the great Swami. The Vidyapith is preparing a documentary centering around the said vows. What they are, how to take these vows, implemented and translated into practice in their own lives, their significance and role in making the process of education holistic and effective. Hope this documentary motivates the young generation, the youth, the student fraternity in particular, to strive to live up to the ideals encompassed in the 5 vows and reach their cherished goals. As the Upanishad puts it, Uttishtato Jagrato prapobara nibodhata. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. May God bless all of us.
Imagine the time when prehistoric cavemen had finally learned to tame fire. Each of those flames were indeed the first words in the first chapter of civilization. The practical usage of fire is numerous, but certain cultures and civilization had looked upon fire as the ultimate purifier of human soul, as a kind of divinity. In India, the god of fire is appeased through a ceremonial homa or yagna during various occasions, and its purpose is not always religious. The sacred flames of yagna usually mark every important and auspicious life event in most families. And more interestingly, Indian culture reserves a unique place for yagna when it comes to the beginning of the educational journey of young students. At Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar, today is that big day when all its resident students shall take their students' vow, while the sacred Homa flames shall stand witness. While the preparations are underway, let us take a quick look at the age-old custom's rich legacy. The oldest Hindu scriptures, known as the Vedas, had been orally transmitted from generation to generation, and the phonology of these Sanskrit mantras are considered as the primordial rhythm of creation even during modern age. Many scholars believe that the Vedic schooling system of Gurukul was founded chiefly for the purpose of preserving these scriptures through the ages until the written script was developed.
Gurukul or life in Gurukul was very much appreciated by Swami Vivekananda. He wanted that system of Gurukul should be widely practiced again. So in that context, if we see these mantras represent the very spirit of the Gurukul system, where certain vows, certain mantras, certain resolutions, certain vidhi and nishedh is taught. So then only you can channel your energies, then only you can commit yourself and put your all energies in a particular direction. So this is very important. Then we have to remember that Gurukul system and Vidyarthi Home mantras, they are deeply connected and inspired by Swami Vivekananda.
Swasti no mimita mashvina bhagas swasti devyaditira narvanaha swasti pusha asuro dadhatuna swasti dyava prithvi suchetuna swastaye vayumupabrvamahai somam swasti bhuvanasya yaspatihi brihaspatim sarvaganam swastaye.
Vow means vrata. Vrata means deciding to channel one's energies, one's time, one's commitment. So we discover a particular channel and we decide to go in that direction, put our energies in that. That is a vow. So vow means like you have water being channeled or nuclear energy being channeled. Same way we are channeling our own energies, our mental, physical energies. That is the taking of a vow, taking of a vrata.
Many of the long-forgotten teachings of India's ancient culture were made relevant in modern times by the great visionary Swami Vivekananda. He had identified the most vital criteria which he believed were ideally suited for optimum development in a student. And that vision was materialized by later scholars of Ramakrishna mission in the form of student vows derived from the ancient teaching of this land. One might argue that today, in this age of advanced technology and online classes, it hardly makes any sense to fall back upon obsolete practices. The gradual deterioration of important faculties in modern children due to spending long hours in virtual world, parents too are lacking in their duties by taking shortcuts. The biggest challenge for every student today is to take the right stance against the millions of accessible distractions surrounding his world. To judge correctly, to focus his strength and energies in the right direction. And that means it is necessary to get back to the basics.
In the Vidyarthihomamantra, Swami Vivekananda's idea of building a complete and harmonious personality is emphasized. A student is, after all, a growing person. So Swami Vivekananda's ideas or his guidance, how to develop this growing personality into a complete personality. Taken from his teaching as well as from the Upanishads, we have these 5 vows. Each of these vows are based on some very solid psychology behind that. We have the idea of, first of all, having a healthy body. So the vow of taking care of one's health. Then you have the vow of focusing one's mind on studies, which means you have to develop concentration, free yourself from distractions. Third is a vow of observing truthfulness in thought, word and action, which is so very important. Sri Ramakrishna said that this is the real tapasya of modern age. And then there is a vow of developing unselfish and very compassionate attitude towards others. It is very required in today's world. It was always actually required. And finally, we have the vow of dutifulness and enlightened citizenship. We are all citizens, but not all are enlightened. So all these 5 vows together, they create a complete personality for a student.
Sangachhadhvam samvadadhvam samvo manamsi janatam.
As Swamiji had aptly put it, character is repeated habits. And because education is considered the most effective character-building tool in every society and every culture, its success naturally relies a lot upon habit-building exercises. The vows to be taken today shall restate that aim of education into these young minds. The first step of which is the sankalp or the resolve prayer.
In order to take these vows, the scheme has been that first there is sankalpa, and then every mantra is chanted. Every mantra is divided into 2 parts. First part is where you express your resolution. This is what I am going to do now. This is what I vow. This is what I am now committing myself to. And then second part is pranama, which is to invoke the blessings of Lord to do that commitment into my life. So the first part is that you have the sankalpa, You take a vow, a very solemn understanding. Yes, now this is something which I am not just a passing thought. It is not something casual. It is something serious. So I commit myself to that.
Our Vedic culture had identified quite early that mind discipline is the discipline of the highest order. The student vows of modern times imbibe that same concept. Hence, all the prayers are addressed to a symbolic entity or the Supreme Spirit.
अग्निमीळे पुरोहितं यज्ञस्य देवमृत्विजम् होतारं रत्नधातमम् अग्निः पूर्वे एभिर्ऋषिभिरीड्यो नूतनैरुत स देवा एह वक्षति अग्निना आरयिमश्नवत्पोषमेव दिवे दिवे यशसं वीरवत्तमम्.
The human mind, way back into the Vedic times, always looked for a symbol which represents the highest power or highest form of being to which he can devote himself. And they found Agni to be very relevant of that, very symbolic of it. So when we stand before Agni, and it has been so for thousands of years in India, to take a vow in front of Agni, it is actually trying to lay impression on our mind that now, yes, we are serious about it.
Vidyarthi Vrata Havan. Now the students will take oath in Virasana posture, right knee on the ground. Take the mud cup on your left palm, cover it with your right palm. Sri Bhagavat Priti Kamoham Vidya Buddhi Sarja Virja Kamasya Vidyarthi Vratam Anushthatum Yatha Sadhyam Yatishe Tadartham Adya Purovasthite Paramatma Devata Namagno Namah Paramatmane Swaha Iti Mantrena Sankalpan Ucharya Homamaham Karishe.
ॐ यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदैति दैवं तदुसुप्तस्य तथैवैति दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु.
Sit down. Keep the mud cup at the right side of your plate. With folded hands,
तपश्च तेजश्च श्रद्धा च ह्रीश्च सत्यं च क्रोधश्च त्यागश्च धृतिश्च धर्मश्च सत्यं च वाक् च मनश्च आत्मा च ब्रह्म च तानि प्रपद्ये तानि मे भवन्तु भूर्भुवस्वरों महान्तमात्मानं प्रपद्ये. The Sankalpa mantra begins and ends with a prayer. The prayer is uttered to God Supreme. O Lord, please be my help in this noble undertaking, is the prayer uttered as part of the Sankalpa mantra. Divine intervention is sought after in this noble cause, and the powers of one's mind are invoked. It is the mind endowed with noble qualities, divine qualities, which can achieve any ideal and goal of one's life. A mantra from the Shiva Sankalpa Suktam, which is part of the supplementary chapter of the Rig Veda, is uttered, which says, Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu. May my mind be endowed with all the divine powers and qualities, which will make my mind an efficient tool in maintaining the vows which I am going to undertake and fulfill its significance and message.
Take first Billa leaf in Mriga Mudra.
शरीरमाद्यं खलु धर्मसाधनम् इति नीतिवाक्यमवधार्य श्रमक्षमनिरोगशरीराय स्वास्थ्यविधिपालनपरो भवितुमहं यथासाध्यं यतिष्ये. ओजोऽसि ओजो मयि धेहि बलमसि बलं मयि धेहि पुष्टिरसि पुष्टिं मयि धेहि ऊर्जासि ऊर्जां मयि धेहि पेशयो मे लोहसमा भवन्तु स्नायवो मे अयांसीव भवन्तु हृदयं मे वज्रसारं भवतु असीमतेजोरूपाय शौर्यवीर्यनिलयाय अनन्तशक्तिमूर्तये नमः परमात्मने स्वाहा.
The vow of keeping a good health, you find in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Yuva Sat Sadhu Yuva Dhyayakaha Ashishto Dradishta Balishtaha. That such a person who is strong, who is young, who is well read, who is educated, such a person is the first unit for any success. Again, there is a mention about Balamasi Balam Mahidhei. O Lord, you are strength, give me strength. So this kind of approach is very essential for the youth. In fact, without a strong body, no success can be had. So it is very much essential that we pay attention to our health. Although as youth, we have the age on our side, yet it is very important that as young persons itself, we should be doing exercise, we should be taking proper food, rest, have self-control. Then only we can develop a strong body for developing strong habits and success in life.
Swami Vivekananda once said, it is better to play football than study of the Gita. you will reach heaven through the playing of the football. That does not mean you should not study the Bhagavad Gita, but the emphasis is on physical strength. Immunity deficiency created havoc in our country and in the world because of the pandemic 3 years ago. And even now, lack of this yoga, lack of physical exercises is creating restlessness, tensions, worries in the life of the students. So let us go back to the great masters, learn from them, and go forward in life and make India healthy. If every student in India is healthy, strong, energetic, and gains and has got a lot of stamina in his lungs and in his workout, I think the country will have its own leadership qualities. There's a beautiful, should I say, a motto of the government of India which says, heal in India and heal by India.
छात्राणामध्ययनं तपः इति स्मृतिवाक्यमवधार्य प्रतिभाविकासार्थम् आचारनिरतः अध्ययनपरो भवितुमहं यथासाध्यं यतिष्ये.
The second vow is the vow of regular study. That I take a vow, I resolve that I should study regularly. In the Taittiriya Upanishad again we hear Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. You should not neglect regular study. Again, we speak of the concentration of mind. Mind is most important part of the study. You have the beautiful verse from one of the Upanishads which says, Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhayo mokshayoho. That it is the mind which is the cause of bondage and mind which is the cause of freedom. So it is the mind which should be taken care of.
Medham me indro dadhatu medham devi saraswati medham me ashvina bhuvavadhattam pushkarasrajau निःशेषतमोघ्नाय निखिलविद्यामूर्तये सर्वसिद्धिप्रदात्रे नमः परमात्मने स्वाहा.
Adi Shankaracharya, very interestingly, many people do not know this. He says for all of these practices, only one thing is developed in all of them, and that is focus, one-pointedness, concentration. In his book, the Upadesha Sahasri, in this book, Adi Shankaracharya, in the 17th chapter, 24th verse, he says, Manasaschendriyanam cha hyaikagryam paramam tapaha tadjaya sarvadharmebhya sadharma para uchyate. So, this one-pointedness, focus or concentration of the mind and the senses is the best austerity. It is superior to all dharmas. It is the highest dharma. How interesting that concentration is said to be the purpose, is the focus of all spiritual practices. It is said to be the best of spiritual practices, highest of spiritual practices. In fact, all spiritual practices which tend to develop this focus, this one-pointedness. Whatever we are doing, it presents some challenge. Whether you are reading a difficult subject or you're playing a game of volleyball. Now, our capacity is, we have a certain capacity for study for that subject or for playing a game. If the challenge seems to be more than our capacity, then we feel anxious, we feel fearful, we feel, will I be able to do this or not? If the challenge is less than our capacity, then we feel bored, that it's very easy, then our mind starts wandering here and there. But concentration, flow happens when challenge is more or less equal to our capacity. So practically, what does it mean? Practically, it means whatever task is in front of us, If it's very difficult, it seems difficult, break it down into smaller pieces and handle them, smaller components or modules and handle them. Find out where it is difficult and focus on that also. If it is too easy, then increase the difficulty of that task. Maybe take on more work or maybe do that work faster till we reach a point where our resources are all engaged in that particular task. One way is to do active reading. When you are studying something, some textbook, some passage, underline it, then review it, stop once in a while and try to review it mentally, to say what you have just read mentally to yourself. Ask questions where you do not understand, underline the new things that you have learned, underline the things that you do not understand yet. In this way, engage yourself with the text so that more and more of our consciously available information processing capacity gets engaged with the text. So this is the way in which we can use our available power of attention to its utmost and increase the power of concentration. Chhatranam adhyayanam tapaha. Very important, especially in this digitally distracted age, to regain our sovereignty, our control over our greatest resource, the power of our attention.
My dear young friends, let me give you a good example. A simple example, but a practical example given by Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna to his disciples. He was using the analogy of explaining God, the importance of God, who is nothing but Satchit Ananda Swarupaha, who is truth, embodiment of truth is God. He's asking the students, the disciples, when I add 2 zeros on the blackboard, what is the value? Everybody said it is 0. I add 5 zeros, it is 0. I add 10 zeros, it is 0. You cannot buy a cup of coffee. I add 1 before 2 zeros. Immediately all of you will say it is 100. Add 1 more 0, 1000. Add 1 more 0, 10,000. Like that, keep on adding the zeros before the 1. Everything is valuable. It will become invaluable. You may call it billion, trillion, zillion in the modern language. It will become so rich by practicing truthfulness. That 1 is truthfulness. Any activity will have its own value when it is connected with truthfulness.
Satyameva jayate nanritam satyena pantha vitato devayanaha iti shruti vakyam avadharya kayena manasa vacha satyparayano bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya satyatmakaya satyadharmashrayaya nikhilanritamardine namah paramatmane swaha.
Satyameva jayate nanrutam, says Mundaka Upanishad. Again, you have beautiful prayer which says Vang me manasi pratishtita, mano me vachi pratishtitam. Meaning my speech should be established in my mind and my mind should be established in my speech. There is no dichotomy or there is no conflict in what I say. That is truthfulness.
Vang me manasi pratishtita, mano me vachi pratishtitam.
Uncountable moral stories tell us that the path of truth is always the ideal path. Untruthfulness or dishonesty comes with a lot of baggage, which is uncomfortable and scary too. To function at its best ability, a student's mind should never fall prey to this disadvantage.
Satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu भक्तारम्
स्वार्थो यस्य परार्थ एव स पुमान् एकः सतामग्रणीः इति मनीषि वाक्यमवधार्य नीचता क्रूरता दाम्भिकतादिमलिनस्वार्थसन्ततिर्विहाय उदारचेता विनयी श्रद्धावान् देशभक्तो नरनारायणसेवानिष्ठो भवितुमहं यथासाध्यं यतिष्ये श्रूयतां धर्मसर्वस्वं श्रुत्वा चाप्यवधार्यताम् आत्मनः प्रतिकूलानि परेषान्न समाचरेत् मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव यान्यनवद्यानि कर्माणि तानि सेवितव्यानि नो इतराणि
Paropakarayai punyam papam parapeedanam cha. This is the core of the fourth vow that we are discussing. Swami Vivekananda said, unselfishness is more paying, but people don't have the patience to practice it. Again, you have the idea of compassion along with unselfishness. Daya dharmasya moolam. Without daya, there can be no dharma. Holy Mother Sarda Devi said, a man who has no compassion, is he a human being?
चित्तकलुषहराय करुणाघनमूर्तये प्रेममाधुर्यदायिने नमः परमात्मने स्वाहा.
In this fourth mantra, you get three important messages of the spiritual culture of India. It calls for the practice of empathy, reverential attitude towards others, and formation of an impeccable character. Swartho yasya parartha eva. And again, that was substantiated by a smriti vakya. Achieve the goals of others or help others achieve their desired objects. This is a necessity. Unless others are happy, no man can be happy in this world. The well-being depends on the well-being of others. This basic understanding is conveyed here. Students at the young age, if they learn this message, they will live a life of content and happiness. That is why Satam Agranihi it is said. Sat means a noble man, a good man. In Sanskrit, the other word for that is sadhu. Sadhnoti parakaryam iti sadhu. That is how the etymology gives the meaning of the word sadhu.
Unselfish service to the society is not to be considered the domain of these familiar faces only. In reality, everyone owes something to the society, simply because society provides for many of our basic needs.
Expansion is life, contraction is death. People are suffering today because of this selfishness. I, let the devil take the hindmost. But when you wipe the widow's tears, when you feed the orphan's mouth, or even an animal is taken care beyond your time, beyond your personal interest, what joy it is. There's a great song which we sing as a bhajan by Sant Brahmanand of the 17th century, who said, Chetan Devaki Seva Karo, Janma Safala Ho Jai. Then why should you serve? Why should you be unselfish? Ghat Ghat Purana, Eka Niranjana, Dvaita bhava sab dur nivaro. Each one of you is a pot. I am a pot, you are a pot, all the people are pots. But what is inside the pot? It is not mud, it is not dirt. Ek Niranjan, that one consciousness is present in everybody. As a result, Dvaita bhava sabu dur nivaro. Selfishness will go, and you will be able to say hello, able to smile at others, able to serve others, and able to lead the entire society forward because of your unselfishness. I request all of you to take this value, to take this resolution seriously and become a great leader of our great nation.
The fifth vow especially inspires a student to shun all narrowness and negativities so that he can become a true citizen and serve all without any distinction of caste and creed.
Suparicalita sanghati shaktireva समाज कल्याण निदानम अत ऐक्य प्रतिष्ठा मूलकम संहति शक्ति जागरणात्मकम संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संवो मनांसि जानताम् इति श्रुत्यादेशमवधार्य सदुपायपरस्सन्नहम् एतद्विद्याप्रतिष्ठानगोष्ठीभुक्तैः सर्वैः ऐक्यबद्धो भवितुं यथासाध्यं यतिष्ये विश्वरूपात्मकाय अखण्डैकतत्त्वाय सर्वलोकाश्रयाय नमः परमात्मने स्वाहा। संकल्पेष्वेषु परमात्मदेवता मे सहायो भवतु स्वाहा। शम्मे शुभाय भवतु स्वाहा। भवतु शुभाय भवतु शिवाय भवतु क्षेमाय परमात्मदेवता स्वाहा। ॐ विश्वानि देव सवितर्दुरितानि परासुव यद्भद्रं तन्म आसुव स्वाहा। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्। श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
The fifth and the final vow has two components. First is social unity and second is love for motherland. Social unity is reflected by the Vedic hymn called the Sanya Suktam, Samvo Matam Chijanatam. And you have the patriotism part quoted from the Ramayana, which says, Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi. So these two together make a person truly a right citizen, enlightened citizen. In the Upanishads, we also find a description of a man who has seen this unity from a spiritual angle. In the Isha Upanishad, we find Tatra komoha kashoka ekatvam anupashyatah. A person who has attained that spiritual unity, he has no sorrow, no misery when he sees that same divinity present everywhere.
The world today is riddled with many crucial ailments: climate change, violence, fundamentalism, food shortage. The list is exhaustive. But the history of human race is filled with numerous incidents of survival during dire catastrophes. And mostly it had been due to mind over matters. To quote Swami Vivekananda once more, "The trained man or mind never makes a mistake." The student vows remind each student that he or she must correctly identify the true potential residing inside his or her mind and put it to good use in an unfailing manner. That is the precise resolution arrived at through the final salutation.
If one is highly educated but lacks moral standards, he will become a positive evil to the society. Niti Shataka of Bhartrihari puts it thus: Durjanah parihartavyo vidyayalankrutopi san. Durjanaha parihartavyaha. He should be avoided, you should not get associated with them. Vidyaya alankrutopi san. Even if his personality is embellished with erudition, scholarship, very high learning, that is all useless if the man is wicked natured. That is why a very noble conduct, an impeccable character has to be formed. This message the students get at this young age when they enter the institution. They all take these vows and pledge to practice them in their life. This will make them a worthy citizen, it will make them happy beings and help them to achieve their desired objectives in life. So, the student should remember these mantras all through their life and try to put it to practice in day-to-day life.
In the same fashion like Deoghar Vidyapith, this Vidyarthi Vrata home is also performed in other residential institutions run by the Ramakrishna order in different parts of India, like Vivekananda Veda Vidyalaya, Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama, Narendrapur, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Purulia, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Viveknagar, Agartala, Ramakrishna Mission Calcutta Students' Home, Belghoria, Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, Belur Mott, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, RKM Veri, Belur Mott, Ramakrishna Mission, Narottam Nagar, Ramakrishna Mission Students' Home, Chennai, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Coimbatore, Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, Mysuru, Vidyarthi Mandiram at Bangalore. Give us the strength to uphold the ideals and to renew our efforts in case of failure. Do not ever allow us to give up, even if we fail. Instead, teach us the ability to rise from the ashes like the Sphinx.